Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a legal puzzle that can cost businesses millions. And we're going to do it through the story of a high-tech farmer who's facing a huge loss. It all boils down to a simple question with massive consequences. What can you legally take with you when your lease is up?
Okay, so let me set the scene for you. A farmer pours a fortune into specialized equipment. We're talking greenhouses, irrigation systems, the whole shebang, all of it attached to land they're just leasing. But now, the lease is up and the landlord steps in and says, "Sorry, everything you leave behind now belongs to me." So, who's right here?
Well, here's the kicker. The farmer's lease didn't say a single word about who owns all these improvements at the end of the term. And when a contract is silent on a key issue like this, that's when we have to turn to centuries of legal principles, what we call the common law, to find the answer.
Now, thankfully, the law provides a pretty clear roadmap for these kinds of disputes. It's a two-stage test. First, we have to classify the item itself, and second, we check if the tenant actually has a right to remove it. So let's break that down. Okay, so stage one is all about this classification. Is the item a fixture, meaning it's basically become part of the land itself, kind of like a built-in bookshelf? Or is it a chattel, which is just personal property that happens to be resting on the land, like a freestanding bookcase? This difference is absolutely critical because fixtures, well, they typically stay with the landlord. So to make that call, we use something called the test of annexation. It sounds a little fancy, but it really just looks at two things. One, how physically attached is the item? And two, what was the intention for attaching it in the first place? Was it to permanently improve the land or just to make it easier to use the item itself? And I'll tell you, that second question, the purpose, is usually the one that decides it. All right, let's apply this to our farmer's equipment. We'll start with the easy one, the vertical farming racks. I mean, they're just resting on the floor under their own weight, right? Maybe a few hoses and plugs that you can easily detach. The degree of attachment is super low, and their purpose is obviously just for the farmer's specific business. These are chattels, no question. The farmer can take them, no problem at all. But now, things get way more complicated with the greenhouses. The degree of attachment here is high. I mean, they are bolted into concrete foundations a meter deep into the ground. And the purpose? Well, it's to make the land a more effective, more valuable commercial farm. The conclusion here is pretty clear. The greenhouses are fixtures. And you can apply the exact same logic to that integrated irrigation system. You've got pipes buried half a meter underground and a whole pump house bolted to a concrete slab. It's highly attached, and its entire purpose is to make the property function as a farm. So the whole system, you guessed it, is also classified as a fixture. So at this point, it is looking really bad for our farmer. The most valuable, most expensive items have been classified as fixtures, which means they belong to the landlord, right? Well, not so fast. This is where we get to the really crucial second stage of our test. You see, the common law has a very important exception, one that was designed specifically for commercial tenants, like our farmer. It's called the tenant's fixture exception. There was this landmark legal case, BP Refinery, that established a really powerful principle. It says that a tenant is allowed to remove fixtures that they installed for the purpose of their trade or their business. And for our farmer, this is a total game changer. So let's apply this exception. The greenhouses, they were clearly installed for the farming trade. The pump house, same thing. And here's the critical part. They can both be unbolted and taken away without completely destroying the landlord's property. This means they are tenants' fixtures, and our farmer has every right to remove them. But this leads us to the trickiest part of this entire puzzle. We know the pump house is removable, sure, but what about the 3 kilometers of irrigation pipes that are buried deep underground? Can the farmer really just dig all of those up? And here's where the law draws a very firm line. The tenant can take their fixture, yes, but only if doing so doesn't cause substantial, irreparable damage to the property they're leaving behind. So what exactly counts as substantial damage? You know, we're not talking about leaving a few bolt holes that you can easily patch up. We're talking about doing damage that fundamentally alters or harms the landlord's property.
Just think about it for a second. Excavating 3 kilometers of piping would mean digging up the entire plot of land. This isn't just some minor repair work, it's a massive disturbance that would cause incredible damage to the property. And because removing those pipes would cause such substantial damage, the tenant's right of removal just doesn't apply to them.
They lose that special status as a tenant's fixture, and they flip back to being a standard landlord's fixture. They have to stay. So let's take a look at the final scorecard here. Our farmer gets to keep the vertical racks. Those are chattels. They also get to take the greenhouses and the pump house because they are removable tenants' fixtures. But those underground pipes, they have to be left behind for the landlord.
Now, the farmer can't just pack up and walk away. They have two really key obligations. First, they have to remove their items before the lease officially expires. And second, they have a duty to make good on any damage caused by the removal. Like filling in the bolt holes from the greenhouse foundations.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, while the common law does provide a solution, it's pretty complex and uncertain, right? Whether you're installing a commercial kitchen or building a custom server room or setting up a high-tech farm, an ounce of prevention in your lease is truly worth a pound of cure in court.
This whole case is just a powerful reminder to always think about the end at the very beginning. So the next time you look at a lease, ask yourself, what have we agreed to leave behind? And what can we actually take with us? Because the answer could be worth an absolute fortune.